Yeah. Oh, snap. I guess we should keep it wholesome for the first minute or two. I shouldn't swear up a storm, get all crazy about it, but you know what we're here to do. You guys saw the banner. We're going to be talking. You know what? I'm going to put this up right away. You have been warned. We are discussing. Oh, there he is.
There we go. How's it going, sir?
Chilling. It is a crazy day.
Yeah. So
we are going to be discussing a film that you can leave your mic in, man. I don't think people care at this point, and it picks you up nice and clean.
Cool. Bring that a little closer. What's up, y'all?
It's here. This is it. Spider-Man.
Oh, bro. I don't know. I don't know where to start because I don't know how you're gonna. Well, I have an idea how you're going to react, and I don't want to say. I don't want to say trigger words. I don't want to say trigger words.
I think
I like the film. Is what I will say.
I think very people much have a weird understanding of what I feel like I'm being critical because I like the movie. And I feel like as a fan of comic book movies, I should be critical and I should definitely speak up if I think that the last movie was done well and the next movie should be better. And if the next movie to me doesn't feel like it's a step up, I'm going to say, well, then you dub. Because it doesn't make sense to me that it's not better. That should
okay.
At minimum, it should be better than the last entry into the franchise.
But see, okay, so all right, so I guess we're just gonna outright say whether or not we do or don't like the film. That's how we're just gonna hit.
I like the film.
Because you're saying that it's not better and whatnot. So it's like, because I don't think it's better than the last one. So that's the thing. Like, but are we gonna say But in general, every time you've talked, well, I mean, outside of this, anytime you've talked to me, it's been very much, well, it's not better. And oh yeah, it's a good movie. That's why it's like, sometimes I find there's a confusion because it's like,
it's a good movie, but it's not better than the last one. That's not an insult. I'm stating facts.
But okay, so then, curious for you, would you say there's more good or more bad things that happen in this film?
What do you mean good?
Like if you had to put a scale, because example, some movies are super great. Like for example, Endgame, perfect conclusion. Not like the few things that people didn't like, let's say, which is not a lot. It's like there's nothing the weight, right? So my question to you is,
hold on. Before I can answer that, I want to ask you, when you watch a movie, what are the criterias by which you judge the film?
I judge. Well, I mean, all movies are different, but we'll talk specifically Marvel movies, I guess.
See, that's my thing. All movies shouldn't be different.
Well, no,
because you should have a base of what you judge movies by.
Oh, I understand that, but there's difference when there is like a movie that is made like an original story that someone just made up on the fly, and someone doing like a Spider-Man movie that does have a background and does have like, it has a background both in its own self as like its view as its movies, as a background in itself of comic books, and because of how they made this movie, it has a background of all the other movies. So it's like it's a different scale to measure on, I find.
No, okay. So what you're saying is it's a different scale in relation, but the actual movie itself should be able to be measured on its own merits.
Oh, okay. Then in that case, okay. So in that regard,
what are the merits that you apply when you
I would say entertainment factor would be a big thing for me. I'll use the term appropriateness, meaning like whether or not you're using humor appropriately, action appropriately, love appropriately, and all in the right places and all the right amounts. And I would say it's a movie that it makes me want, like, I'm definitely not going to check my watch while watching the movie. And it'll allow me to like escape in it. I thought those like bare minimum things, I definitely think this movie passed on all those fairly easy, but like, I do agree with you. Do I think this movie was quote unquote better than Far From Home? maybe in some aspects, yes. I think on a personal level, does it beat it for me? No. We'll get into
Yeah,
like I know
that was my
we
thinking.
want to rank the later on spoiler for people about the conversations to be had, but we're gonna have a ranking system at one point for the movies. But
Yeah,
like I still think, regardless of that measurement, and even regardless of the fact that technically for me, there's maybe another movie I would compare it to say like is not like, and it's same as like Toby said last week, like Spider-Man 2 is a very big thing. Was it better than Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock? I don't think it was personally, and like I'm looking at Toby's smirk, so I don't know where he's going with this because he just popped in. But for me, what I'm saying is like, regardless of whether or not it's better than any other movie, what I
yeah,
will say is it lived up to the standards of for me of what a Spider-Man movie should be
okay,
and the value of it. Because for me, to be quite honest, the one thing I find unique about this franchise, like the franchise being like all Spider-Man movies or
yeah,
all mainstream Spider-Man movies,
yeah,
the average one isn't bad. To be quite honest, there's only two movies of all the movies that came out that I would say, like, for example, you have like your top, right? And as you go down, that list between the movies is very, like, for me at least, very close. Like you're picking at hair follicles between which one is better than the next.
okay,
But then there's a big skip at one point where
okay,
it's like these ones are bad or these ones are not at all to this.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's just like when you watch
yeah,
Bond movies, right? There's a bunch of good Bond movies, but technically, if you measure Bond, like example, Daniel Craig's Bond is a good holistic story of all the Bonds, of his story of his Bond, like from when
yeah.
he became Bond to like when he
He got a
didn't.
full arc as
Yeah,
a Bond.
exactly,
Whereas
right?
most of them don't get full arcs. They usually
Exactly.
just yeah.
Exactly. So like that movie franchise is a great, cool, but there are definite movies in there that I'm like, this is a bad Bond film. Quantum of Solace is a bad Bond film. It's
Okay.
not at the cut of everyone else, and that's how I feel. I feel like this movie, if you put it in the realm of like, does it make the cut for a good Spider-Man movie? Does it have the worthiness of having Spider-Man's name on it? Yeah.
Okay. My thing for judging movies is I look at movies and I have specific criteria for a movie as to what I judge it. I judge it on the performance. I judge it on the cinematography. I judge it on, like you said, the ability to keep me captivated and pull me into the story without losing me at any points. And I judge it on, especially in this day and age, I judge it on things like the graphics, like the CGI and stuff like that, because that is a major part of it.
Mhm.
Pretending like that doesn't have a play a factor is an outright lie. Like if you're gonna watch something like I don't know, the first Wolverine movie where the CGI was like half broken in some of the shots, you're just like, well,
Mhm.
you guys could have put more money into this. And that's one of the other things for me is we are at a point now in making these movies where anything is possible because it's literally a matter of how much money you're going to put into making it. There's
Mhm.
nothing that's off limits in doing scenes or doing CGI. We haven't, it's a computer generated and you could do anything. Anything you could
Mhm.
draw, anything you could think of is anything you could do in CGI in reality now because you have CGI with computers. You're muted, by the way, so I'm not sure if you're speaking.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, what do you mean by, are we talking about a fully CGI movie where people understand that these characters, all of them, there are no humans, are all animated in CGI versus like CGI integrated into human elements, which a lot of the times the uncanny valley effect is what takes us out of things when it doesn't look as realistic as it should, to the point where we
Yeah.
can suspend disbelief.
You're asking me how I apply that into any movie?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So if I'm watching a Spider-Man movies, the Spider-Man movie has live action people. So why would I take it into consideration for a fully CGI movie? Those are two different things.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So if
Okay.
I'm
So you're
watching a
you're saying
Spider
fully CGI.
Yeah, Spider-Man is fully CGI. Like what parts of the movie in the fighting is not it's CGI combined with practical.
Right. Okay. Okay. And you're judging the CGI within the Spider-Man world, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, too. Okay.
Yeah. Like if I'm watching the
But
movie and the CGI looks wonky, that takes me out of the moment, so then it's not as
did
good.
you find that with this movie?
There were times the scaffolding where Toby looks like his CGI wasn't as smooth as the others based on the lighting and stuff. That was a moment where I was just like,
Where he was cracking his back? That scene?
No, just when the shot. Actually, you know what? I'll take myself out. You guys might be able to see it a little bit better, but the background to what we have today is all three of them, and I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh, you can't really see it.
No, it's hard to see. It's hard to see.
But the scene where they're all together on the scaffolding,
Yeah,
Toby doesn't look like he fits in as smoothly as the others.
Okay,
but maybe. Do you think they've made all the finishing touches? Like there's chances
they were pretty much touching this movie up until the last second, apparently. So,
but that's unfortunate. But like, what am I like? If because what you're telling me now is I watch an unfinished product, like you're gonna get judged for that.
Okay, all right, okay.
But
this is a nitpick. I feel
that's my thing. So, but in general, CGI is a factor in it for me.
Okay,
like
right.
In general, what you're able to do. Like, if I'm watching Star Wars and you had Princess Leia flying through space like Mary Poppins, we all laughed at that. CGI was on point for it, though. As stupid as it looked, I didn't get taken out of the shot. I got taken out of the shot because she looked like friggin' Mary Poppins, not because the CGI looked bad. You're going to put a person in space like that, it's going to look weird, but they managed to do it.
Okay, so what was... I know I came in a little late. What was the... I just listened to Dave talk about...
That's all.
We started off basically just saying like first, just did you like it, and then we got to the discussion of like what makes a good movie and based off of what you think. Yeah,
because that's the thing. Everyone keeps telling me that
you can't judge it like another movie and stuff like that, right? Like
my thing with judging movies and critiquing movies is if I'm going to critique movies, I have to have a base for all movies. If you don't have that, then you're not actually criticizing or critiquing every movie fairly. You're adding different weight to each movie. Now, aside from my internal bias based on my preference for superhero movies, and if I have a preference for action over comedy over drama, I should still be able to look at a movie, watch the film, and say, was the performance good? Did the director get what they needed out of the performers? Did they shoot the movie well? Was the CGI done and the editing done well? Were the music cues good? And all those factors combined, I should be able to give the movie a score.
I think so. And if we're gonna, since you want to, I think what someone needs to do is actually come up with specific criteria for each number within that, whether it's a 5-point scale or a 10-point scale. Just be like, for example, like there probably is some internal thing at IMDb or all these other places, but I'm saying like a common sort of ranking system where everyone can actually have specific criteria to go on. Like, for example, good story. That's one. Composition. You were talking about scores. The soundtrack. 100%.
Yeah.
On top of composition is a soundtrack like good. The rest of it, special effects. Like, and then you either give a 0, a half, or a 1 based on what you feel in those specific areas. I think we do need a more general, because ranking would be a lot less subjective. It'd still be subjective because you're still gathering people's opinions on those things, but now you have actual points that you can point to and actually talk about. Like, okay, you give this a 0.5 here. Why do you feel that way about this specific thing?
But that's my thing. I already do that for myself. I don't need someone else to give me that. So that's why
which is why to me your score that you showed me was shocking.
Yeah, so because and that's the thing. When I tell people that I like the movie, and I give it a 6.5, people are just like,
critic.
"Oh, well, that's not a good score," and I'm like, "But it is a good score based on
your score.
It's good score in the sense that it passes.
It's your score. It'll get you through, grade 10 or grade 11, right, with a 65%. But I do want to understand like how you got there and why you still feel it's a good movie, because that's like, let's be honest, if we really like something, we're giving it in like the 7.58.
Well, I get what Brian's saying, like in the sense, like, example, one of my favorite movies of all time is Army of Darkness. Now, if you were to measure Army of Darkness on the criteria that Brian's saying, it's not necessarily a good movie, but people enjoy the movie because it's good at what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
that's what he's saying. That's why I get what you're saying, but it's just that
I find it funny because everyone I say 6.5 to, people are like, "You're crazy. That's insane." And I'm just like, so then I asked them, "But what are the criteria you're basing your score on?" Because people are telling me it's the best Spider-Man movie ever, 10 on 10. And I'm like,
I don't agree with that. but I know why people are saying that. It's because you got everything, right? They're really
you got
basing
so much fan service in this
but
one movie.
fan service is not a bad thing. Let's not get ourselves
I
in
didn't
right,
say it was
because
a bad
those are the things that we've talked about that we want at some point. A lot of those things we wanted. They even did the goddamn meme scenes subtly,
right,
where they're pointing at each other, which was made me laugh.
But people are giving it, you just said, people are hyper scoring this film 10 on 10 for the fan service aspect and not because the movie is good. And that's fine if they want to, but don't be mad at me when I'm saying I like the movie and I'm giving it a 6.5.
Yeah, I think they did a great job of marketing it to the layman. And I think that's where you're seeing, and it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying layman, it's like a muggle to the wizards. Like, you're still a good person. You're a human. We just call you a muggle. But
no, they don't like when they call the humans they like humans, and they tell them they're human.
They call them muggles, don't they?
When they call them muggles, it's direct insult. It's like, yeah, you're a human, but you're a muggle.
I mean, a muggle is an insult.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll take that back. I just watched Harry Potter like 5 years ago, guys. I'm not like deep in it. I'm sorry.
Dude, I watched it once.
3 years ago. That shows how much I paid attention. But yeah, I do think that's the biggest reason for like the crazy movie of the year or of all time.
Right.
I am definitely high up on it. But as you'll see probably later on, that it's definitely it's got its place within my ranking of Spider-Man movies for sure.
So then how about if we do this? What if you would say what are the weaknesses of this film? What would you say the weaknesses are? If we're going to be honest.
I think the first half of the movie suffers from let's do things to get the plot moving. Which to me was just like, okay, I just get to it. Like, I spent a good portion, 30, 45 minutes kind of just being like, we know what's coming. Like, just get to it, you know? So they could have cut a good, like, 20, 30 minutes at the beginning from just, like, there's a lot of random scenes. Like, yeah, there were a lot of random scenes. I love the intro. I love the beginning.
Yeah. If the movie's 2 hours and 20-something minutes, the fact that we all think they could have easily cut 20 minutes, it means you just add scenes.
Especially considering they were giving Toby and Andrew that much screen time. It could have easily cut a little bit. They could have cut a little bit more from the beginning, for sure.
If anything, they could have cut a bit more from the beginning to maybe make some better, longer scenes with them even at that. Because sometimes, although they got I
didn't need more than that.
No, but I mean, like, giving some extra seconds here or there, because I did find that some of their interactions to be very, like,
rushed,
very in and out, like, you know, like very in. I don't like you could have given like extra 10 seconds here, 10 seconds there to just. And I'm talking about like look, we're here to nitpick, right? So I'm saying like that's my nitpick. That was one thing for me.
Do you want to know why
I think page as you? Because I thought the same thing.
Did you though?
Yeah.
You wanted more of them in this than they got?
I wanted. So one of the things I said to Dave is, because Dave and I saw it together, for those of you who are listening or watching, Dave and I saw it together. And when we walked out of the theater, I said to Dave, I'm not mad that Andrew and Toby are in the movie. I'm mad about how they are brought into the movie. I thought that was horrible. I did not like that at all.
What, Ned being a sorcerer?
Yeah. I hate
that.
But
I think you hate more. But I think you hate more the fact that Ned was an easy sorcerer than actually how they came in.
But
because had that been Doctor Strange, I don't think you would have been upset about it. You've been like, oh, okay, cool.
But that's the thing. Doctor Strange wouldn't have messed up and said, "Bring me Peter Parker," and brought the wrong person. Like that. It's the intention of the magic, and that's the problem for me with Ned. They set up Ned at the beginning when he walks in with Doctor Strange and mentions that magic. There's a tingling in my hands. You should get that checked out. That was literally the seed for that moment later, so that you could bring them in. And I hate that thread. I do not like it.
I don't. I have a different way of looking at it, in the sense that, like, I've always wanted more for Ned in this universe outside of just like fumbling sidekick.
Yeah.
So I think out of every possible way they could potentially bring him back, and maybe even outside of Spider-Man, maybe even in Doctor Strange or something to do with that realm. Sure. Okay, he could be a young Avenger at some point who has magic. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
I
see what you're saying, because
I'm definitely down with more Ned.
But one
Yeah.
thing,
Okay.
because one
Yeah.
thing I remember when we were talking, one thing was brought up was like, oh well, he knows what to do compared to like Doctor Strange, who always learned, right? And I've heard that from some people, and
No,
for me,
man. Okay.
but
You
wait,
describe-
let me say my second
true.
here,
Okay, sorry,
okay?
you're right.
A
Go
bunch
ahead.
of time pulling the rug from me right now. What I was going to say is that like in a lot of comic book anythings, you always have the person who gets it right away, who's good, but then the person who doesn't get it right away has to struggle and then is better than everyone else, right? Also, for this specific one, like example, he was able to open portals, he couldn't close them. He wasn't bringing them to the right places. So like, although yeah, maybe opening him a little bit, but like to open up, it's not like he did other magic, right? So the fact that one aspect of it came to him, it's like that's fair. That was the opening for him to know that he has magic, and it just so happened to fill up a lot of plot holes that could have happened if there wasn't a Doctor Strange character, which I also appreciate that argument. But like, man,
can I ask you a question though?
Yeah.
What was the biggest thing that showed Doctor Strange didn't know magic in his own movie? What was the thing they used?
Can I answer? Because that's what I was going to talk about. That's literally what I was going to say. I was going to say, let's go back to Doctor Strange 1 with Doctor Strange. When he was in Cumbertage for the first time, after meeting the Ancient One, and then they're all training in the yard. Every single person who had any form of magic within them could open a portal, no matter what. The reason why he couldn't, remember, his hands were fucked up. That's why it took him a long time to figure out how to actually.
That's not depicted in Doctor Strange.
We're not told.
I want to rewatch Doctor Strange. I want to see that
people have magic in them.
Okay, I think at this point we can assume, unless they change that. But I think based on what we've been given,
why am I assuming that everyone who showed up is magical and Doctor Strange is the only one who got
when
there?
When they were doing the portal thing, everyone was pretty much opening them without issue.
But that's what I'm saying. That I read that scene as these people aren't new; they're already trained and know how to do this.
I see what you're saying, but I'm gonna go. That's one way to look at it for sure.
What you're asking me now is suspend disbelief and accept that Ned has magic and can open portals so that we can move the plot along. That's what we're doing, because that's the thing I don't like. If that's what we're doing,
I think we'll have to go back with a fine. I get what you're saying. I think we'll have to go back to Doctor Strange and kind of take a look at that scene a little bit closer, because I truly do believe that was the case for him. He was only not able to perform those things because of his hand being messed up. On top of that, Ned doesn't have the training. He could open portals all you want, but you don't have the training. You won't know what to do to close one. Exactly.
Yeah. But I just don't like that he had magic. Like Ned.
Sure, I get that part. I get that part. 100%. I think they wanted to sell toys too with Strange Nerd.
Of course,
Ned,
for sure. Strange Ned is happening.
Thing that bothers me a little.
That's gonna be a pop for sure. 100%.
Ned Strange or Strange Ned?
Both,
for sure. and then Spider-Man with the cape.
100%.
Wearing the cape.
I think that's already a toy. No, from
and that's the thing. Like, there's so many things in this movie that were just like, we're doing this so we could sell a new action figure. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, there you go. Also, guys,
Dave just showed us the Lego
TV. If you're skipping the TV series, the TV shows from What If to WandaVision, to like, you're missing out on just certain elements,
like instant clues.
You know what I mean? Because like they set up so much in What If, especially not that everything in What If is connected. Nothing might be connected, but they're showing you what's to come. Potentially for certain characters and what angles and what sides they can take them, namely Doctor Strange, as we saw at the end, the post-credit speech we'll talk about later,
which is officially out now.
Yeah, exactly.
They released the official teaser.
I'm just saying, for anyone listening, if you're skipping on the TV shows, trust me, make the time. It'll just make it that much more complete of a view. You can do it without it, but it'll make it that much more of a complete experience. You'll be like, oh yeah, wow, this thing, it makes it more interactive. But let me ask you guys, how into it was your theater?
Oh, a lot. A little too much for me. Well, near the end, not at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Because
near the end,
no offense, the reaction to like Garfield saving what's her name, I was like, oh my god, like get over yourselves. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, get over yourselves.
Murdoch was obviously Matt Murdock showing up was obviously the biggest moment, the first big moment.
Yeah.
In our theater, I didn't notice it. Like Dave, you tell me. I noticed only that large group in front of us cheering. I didn't notice the whole theater reaction.
No, it wasn't a massive reaction. I would definitely say it's like example, it's no end game reaction when there's like on your left and people are like, woo! Like, you know what I mean?
No, that
you had none of those in our theater. That's for sure.
you
Not.
can't. Okay, so here's another thing. I hate that they're calling or comparing this, or even Marvel themselves, Sony themselves, been comparing this as Spider-Man's Endgame. You can't do that because what happened in Infinity War and Endgame is a culmination of so much emotional, like, anguish and battle that we were a part of.
But
Spider-Man didn't deserve.
This movie is the same because it's all the other Raimi movies.
I didn't say it's the same.
I said it had similar hype, not the same.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Because
same is a strong word.
You're not the only ones who've made the argument that if you take into consideration the Raimi movies and ASM, the build up for this is equivalent in the sense that this is the culmination of all of that in this one movie. And that's what it's supposed to be. And that's why I feel like it failed to do that.
Oh man, see, that is why I understand why your score is low. If that factors in, I get it. It does. Because what I meant, if I even did say I sided with the whole combination thing, is the fact that, like, it would be, how awesome would it be to see the Spider-Man that we grew up with connected to this Spider-Man and seeing how they work together. Not necessarily that this is like, you know what, it doesn't, they're not tied in that way, like in an Endgame situation where it's like the fate of the world depends on. But it does, right?
Yeah, funny enough, those moments, the best, that's the thing. When people are just like 6.5, you didn't even like it? I'm like, no, I actually, when Tobey and Garfield show up, I hate the way they came in, but from that moment on, all their interactions with Tom are amazing. Yeah, them being on the roof talking to him, the jokes about
you're amazing, guy.
Oh my god,
I died.
Can I just say that Marvel?
I love you. Thank you. They both say it at the same time. Like, hilarious.
I'm gonna give them the troll award until I know any different. But they just did a better Martha moment than DC did.
Oh my god.
No. Because the whole with great power line and then them all figuring out, wait, how do you know that line? But it just worked because there was a connection and it was a conversation. Batman versus Superman wouldn't have happened if they had a conversation. To begin with. That was
Uncle
beautiful.
Ben
I loved
said,
it.
Uncle Ben,
but I will say that's one thing that pissed me off though. As much as I was happy that the statement was finally said, because I feel like that is like an important thing for Peter to remember and whatnot.
And they said it properly.
And all that stuff. But like for me, it's just like I find getting rid of Aunt May was like just like a bit of a cop out, and like like I wasn't happy. In fact, one thing I will say that I
thought she was gonna die too. I friggin' knew it.
But one thing I don't like though at the end of this film is now you spent so many movies making me like certain characters, and now all those characters are gone because like as if they continue this series which they plan to do, obviously by the ending, which we'll get to, now like MJ and his best buddy, whatever, they're technically not going to be there. They're going to be in Boston. What are you talking about? They got to MIT.
So the next one could be in Boston. They went to London for crying out loud.
So he's going to stalk them, Toby? Did it look like he was going to stalk them?
I'm with Dave.
He just got an apartment alone in New York. He's going to now stalk them because he has so much money to afford a place in New York and Boston?
He's about to sell photography of himself, so he'll be all right, okay?
The only way
what are you talking
that you have those two come back is like they come back for the summer. Because he's right. If they do go to MIT and they're in Boston, like that's one of the things I actually liked about this movie, and I actually wish Sony would pull the plug on the Marvel deal, is you ended this movie so perfectly that you surgically cut Peter Parker's Spider-Man out of the MCU, and you could now literally take your property and go make movies with this character on your own.
Yep.
And instead, you're supposedly still working 3 new movies with Marvel.
Because he's still in and out. Right?
Yeah, but
because he wouldn't be in the Venom verse. Yeah, he would be in his own universe almost. It's his
No,
own
he
Right.
would still
He'd be in a
be in his own.
pocket he'd be in the MCU, but in a
but
pocket
in
in
his
the
own
sense that
pocket. Yeah.
because the same way like this movie happens and why are no other Avengers like especially like in the movie when Peter Parker and Strange are fighting in that mirror place and they swing through the mall.
Yeah.
In fall, you hear
Yeah.
Christmas music playing.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, and we saw the Statue of Liberty crosses over to Hawkeye. So
Mhm.
like all the like people are in this world. So if major weird events are happening on the news, there are other Avengers, you know, like that should be like, oh, what like I should go help in New York. Why is the shield on the Statue of Liberty being pulled? Why is the sky purple and everything blowing up? Why are there monsters in the sewer? Why is, you know, like
I
or
get
even
it, but
just
we would.
but that's what I'm saying. We know that they don't do that because, much like the comic books, it would be impossible to try and tell a character's story if every
Exactly.
time you did it, you had to acknowledge, like, oh, they're in the same New
Every
York with
single-
every single character.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah.
these movies, you cut him out surgically. The precision to cut him out so well that the movie ends with no one knowing who Peter Parker is was so well done that I was just
Yeah.
like, that's one of the reasons I love the movie. I was just like, this is actually really good. The ending is good.
Yo,
So then,
you know that
let's talk-
post-credit scene makes Marvel and Disney. I think I think they inception Sony because they're like, yeah, we'll make a Spider-Man Venom movie, but in our universe.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
still
I
work
agree.
together with you on a Spider-Man Venom movie, but in our
Over
universe.
here. Yeah.
yeah, because that was I was about to say another strength, which I guess we're talking about now, is that end scene. I thought that was perfect because
This
I
is what
forgot.
we wanted.
I
That.
forgot everything about. I forgot about Venom the whole time.
Yeah.
Didn't think about him, and at the end you're like, oh, like I was disappointed, like, oh, so we're not going to see this, but like, because even in my head, I'm like, I don't find. Although I think they're great actors, I think they'd feed off each other very well. Eddie Brock's version of Eddie Brock wouldn't be Tom Holland's Eddie Brock.
But
You know what I
work with
mean?
Andrew Garfield.
He would. He
100%.
would very well. 100%. 110%. So I liked how they just went in. They're like, okay, so the one thing you're missing is this. They just cut it off and just like, here you go. And take him back. I thought that was gorgeous.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I thought he was only gonna be in the post credits too. I even called that before, like weeks ago.
I was a little annoyed that he was brought in that way, only to stay in the post credit scene, because I was just like, why even do that at the end of Venom for him to then spend a week sitting at a bar in Mexico,
but that's
drop off a symbiote and then disappear. That's
what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying about Marvel and Disney, kind of inceptioning Sony there to make it feel like it was their idea.
So silly.
But we got this property in our universe now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But so Dave, you're a Venom fan.
Yeah.
Isn't what we saw, shouldn't that be a new symbiote and not Venom himself? Per the logic of symbiote, Venom doesn't duplicate
in the Sonyverse.
Well, because this is different though. Like, you know, this is like technically it's Venom's body being cut off, not so much being fallen off, right? Because that's how when he spawns, but when he spawns but we're talking about comic books. You're asking comic books, right? So what I'm saying is, in comic books, it's more like it's like as if they whatever those unisex, like they're we have them in
the creatures that just separate.
Yeah, like I forget what they're called, but that's exactly how they asexual. That's it. So like when they do that, they just give birth to the other symbiotes, from my understanding. So technically, if you want to go through comic book logic, him being cut off, it should technically be Venom. It should technically die, but maybe they're going to do something that makes it grow. I don't know.
Okay. Because that was one thing when I saw that, I was just like, from what I understand, I'm seeing right now, that's not Venom. That would be a kid. The same way Carnage and like that was my thing. I was just like, if you guys want to play with the logic of how this is done, by all means, you can go ahead. But
we all know the logic changes when you go from universe to universe. It's the same. Right. It's the same. I think they're just subtleties in there that you kind of have to understand that they're doing. Which is, for example, Jamie Foxx's Electro. He looks different, and the only explanation you get is that he just somehow, when he got to this universe, his looks change and his power sets
different
seem to
energy.
enhance or changes, right? So
Yeah.
they kept mentioning that. He mentioned that actually more than once, but it was noticeable how much they just wanted to. They wanted to like.
Doc Connors goes, "You had a comb over and glasses. What happened to you?" It's like, oh yeah, okay, we get it. Like,
I think they want you to understand that, like, if you see something that didn't work a certain way before, but it works a different way now, it's because it's just been morphed, but just by existing in our universe.
I just like the idea that in the multiverse, the different types of energy in different multiverses would cause a different version of him. Like that's something that I was thinking in my head. It's not what they said, but it's just the idea that in his ASM world, he was blue eel energy. In this world, because he's a being of energy, but he's in a world with arc reactors. Well, his energy is going to be completely different. Like there's no arc reactors.
He was blue. When he first came in, he was blue.
Yeah, but then
they changed quickly.
He's yellow almost.
The arc reactor.
No.
Before that.
You're right.
Before that.
I literally just rewatched the movie.
As he was absorbing the energy, it was yellow.
Wait, how'd you rewatch it?
You know.
No, you need to. You know this over here because wifey hasn't seen it. You know with the lockdown.
Oh the usual. The usual is it's already there.
She already knows it's a ding ding ping ping. You got it. Wing wing.
Yeah. We talk about this offline, but you know the deals.
Yeah, true. How's anyone know how the browser is on the PS5? Does that handle our little situations over there? Anyone know?
Probably.
Good.
Yeah. The one on my PS4 has been able to in the past.
Someone just gifted me a PS5 with a pink controller like today, like brought it to my house and said,
"Gifted,
hey, nigga." Yeah. Anyways, so
you have really good friends.
Been a good week.
Yeah. What the hell? What do you mean? Your friend just gifted?
Can I know who this friend? Can I be this person's friend? Like,
I ain't gonna put his name out there like that, but he just like.
Did they not like the PS5?
No, listen. So they were gonna lend me their PS4 Pro because my original PS5 makes all sorts of noise, like taking off. It sounds like a plane. So he's like, yeah, I have a PS5. I'll lend you my PS4 Pro, and I'm just like, cool. Till I get a PS5 myself, whatever. Mans comes over and I see him with the long box, and I used to have a PS5. I flipped it, so I know what that long box is. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, no. Put that away. That's not. He's like, nah, pay me back whenever. I'm like, the fuck you mean? He's like, I don't need the money. He's like, here, my friend, he got a bunch extra. He was selling them to friends. I said, hey, what am I doing lending this guy a PS5?
Okay. He was flipping them too. It's not that he just gave you his.
No, not him. He was not he was flipping them.
I thought your friend.
I thought he gave you a PS5. I was like, yo,
I love skinny. Here you go. PS5.
Yeah.
Well, he says pay me back whenever. That means like 9 years could go back, and that's still whenever, bro. Like,
that's like true friend too. Yeah.
It's not like a come on. That's what I said. It's not a ting.
That's funny.
Oh man. Where were we?
We were going on about Venom and if it's split off and if it counts and if it's different.
My thing for the symbiote, if they want to introduce the symbiote into this new pocket MCU that they're gonna have to create for Spider-Man, because again, I don't see why you cut him out and then immediately just throw him back in. It wouldn't make sense. It would be counterintuitive to the existence of Spider-Man, because in this one, Spider-Man exists and Tony figured it out and reaches out to him, and he does so in Civil War when he's kind of desperate and he needs someone. But Tony's gone, so Tony's not going to be the one trying to figure out who he is. Peter's going to probably be way better at keeping his identity a secret this time as opposed to last time. So he really is going to be in a pocket by himself. Like, no one knows who Peter Parker. Like, they know Peter Parker, but they don't know who Peter Parker is.
Well, they know Spider-Man.
They know Spider-Man exists, but they don't know Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah, the spell works in the way of like an enchantment where like any trace of a Peter Parker, wherever he may have been for his whole existence, is just gone. You know? So that'll be
I thought that was a little bit weird too, because like at the end you see he has the GED book, so he has to, because his high school doesn't know he existed.
Yeah.
Damn. What?
Yeah, see, I didn't understand the spell was erasing like his history of stuff.
Yeah,
I thought the book, I thought it was just erasing like no one knows who Peter Parker is, and I was just like, okay.
No one knows that Peter Parker
is Spider-Man.
No, that wasn't the spell.
But at the end, yes, exactly. At the end, it's that no one knows or remembers Peter Parker, which I did think was weird, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. But I think
I understand why he did that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if the first spell is no one knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and then he does that fucked up thing where those
now
who know.
everybody knows are here.
So then it's just like, okay, get rid of Peter Parker so that they, even if they do know Peter Parker is Spider-Man, they don't know who Peter Parker is.
Exactly.
So it erases it on that level.
Yeah.
What?
It's kind of crazy. I don't know how he's gonna get another identity or how he got his
No,
apartment
he's
or
Peter
whatever.
Parker.
So wait,
he
yeah,
is
that's
Peter-
true. That's true. That's
He's
true.
Peter
That's true. That's true.
Parker. He has an ID. He has because he's able to rent.
But
an
he's not going to
apartment.
be in photos. He's not going to be in.
No,
and you know what's crazy
there's-
about that is here's why I feel like he was able to make that decision anyway. If you really think about it, Peter Parker wasn't around for a lot of like those big events in like a teenager's life. He was out doing something else, so it wouldn't have been hard for his friends to move on without him, right? Because like MJ was always a loner, right? Before she met Ned and Peter, she was a loner. So if she kind of just woke up one day and didn't remember him, but all she remembered was reading books, to her it'd be like, that's what I do. And Ned was a nerd who in his room making toys and building toys and stuff on his own, right? So if he woke up one day and just was doing that, it'd be like, that's what I do, right? I think he must have thought like, yeah, they could probably move on without me and not really feel an emptiness there, you know?
Yeah, saving the universe was not part of the decision making. It's whether or not they can move on.
But there is a piece of him that stayed behind because she still wears that black dahlia necklace. She was still wearing it at the end.
If someone takes a picture of him now, what happens?
Someone takes a picture of Peter Parker?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, Peter Parker.
He's not
Peter
a vampire.
Parker is a person. People know that. Like Peter Parker is just a guy. He's just Joe on the street now. Yeah. People just don't remember him. Happy knows Aunt May and knows that Aunt May knew Spider-Man. But he doesn't know. But he doesn't know that Peter was Spider-Man or
who Peter is.
Like he doesn't know that Aunt May. He might know Aunt May had a nephew. He just doesn't know her nephew was Peter Parker.
Exactly.
Like it's stuff like that. One of the things,
and even if he knew it was Peter Parker, he wouldn't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and then one of the things people are saying, like Flash's book, that doesn't disappear. So what happens when that references Flash and Peter Parker? People are going to read the book, and one person's theory online is that the way the spells work is it's going to be a fugue state type thing where like you read it, but after you read it, you immediately forget it.
Exactly.
I was just like, oh, okay.
Also, I love that it was called Flashpoint. Another DC
that's such a dig.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I kept saying that, and people were like, "What do you mean?"
A comic book in
Does it matter, Brian? Like,
it doesn't matter. That's literally them saying the movie.
Yeah.
No, but I don't. That's why I'm saying that I don't think they're. I mean, maybe, but the reason I say this is because I think Ben Ulrich worked for Flashpoint at one point.
I think Marvel did have a Flashpoint.
Yeah, because at one point when Ben is working as a journalist, he like starts his own newspaper during the Civil War and is reporting on everything. And I can't remember the name of that newspaper.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
I don't.
Anyways, that's comic shit.
Yeah.
Back to this wild ass movie. Fight scenes.
Fight scenes were on point.
Oh my god.
Fight scenes, and honestly, most of the villains, in my opinion, in general, were all done very well. I thought there was a lot of good performances from the villains in this one.
It made me realize how much I just don't like Sandman.
Why? Whoa. Sandman was one of the best.
Yeah,
as an opponent, but as a character, I could see what Toby's talking about. I don't share that sentiment, but I could see what you're talking about.
Someone had to take the L.
Yeah, I thought Sandman was one of the best villains in this one because he just continues to stay true to who he is. Like, I just want to get home to my kid. I don't want to. But in the end,
why is he fighting if that's what he wants to do?
Because they won't send him home.
He's fighting because he wants to go home.
But they were going to send him home. They just wanted a cure first. They were right.
But he didn't care about that. He wanted to go home.
Yeah, he says.
Well, why are you fighting then?
But because that's what I'm saying.
Because I want to go home.
I'm just here because he's not going to let me go home until he finishes his science project. And then those guys are all fighting. But Flint isn't fighting so that he can stay. I think he's fighting so that he can try and get sent home.
Because he's fighting. There's some scenes where he's fighting everybody. There is a scene or two where he inflicts shit on the other bad guys. Like, he pushes them out of his way too. He's like, I just want to go home and just blah.
But then he's trying to drown Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, he's still because they're still trying to stop them. He's not on. He doesn't remember.
Anyway, I get
What-
it. I just
What does he say multiple times? I don't trust anybody. I am my own
sure,
man.
for
I
sure.
don't trust y'all.
Oh,
I get
that
what they're
was
trying to say. I don't think it hit it. I don't think his motivations hit home for me out of all the characters.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like I felt differently
Yeah.
about his motivations. It just didn't. It was confusing.
Yeah.
His flip flop.
But
what
I was gonna
Sorry,
say
man.
fight scenes though, when they start doing
Amazing.
full on fucking wrestling moves.
Yeah,
when,
hold on, boy. Power bomb.
Yo!
People through the floor. I was like, whoa!
Yo,
Some
the
of those
Goblin
power-
and Spider-Man fight.
Yes,
Yeah, man.
yes.
Listen,
That was probably the most brutal Spider-Man
Yes.
fight I've seen in a
in
very long time.
But mind
Right?
you, it is also a grown ass man mishandling a little boy.
No, it was
Like,
it was power for
Dude,
power. It was like
when-
power shots. There's no. It
when-
was a small confined space.
Yeah, the hallway.
Very old man, or sorry, old
Yeah,
boy. Like,
looking
when
ass,
Peter
yeah.
jumps off the wall, jumps like knees first over Norman, and is punching him, and then
back,
Norman
back.
starts laughing, and he's like,
Very
and then he
Batman and
suplexes
Joker.
him. Yo,
yeah.
I was like,
100%.
this is amazing.
That was dope.
Lizard deciding to get into that.
That's
I
a
don't
bad
understand.
mulligan.
I-
For them, that's a bad mulligan. We're just gonna. First of all, why did you take them out of the prison?
dude. Okay,
Okay,
Dave,
step
Why you
one.
bring him to your
Step
house?
two. Step
Dave.
two. Why would you leave one of them in the car?
Dave.
Like,
you and I had this conversation
Like-
after the movie,
Yeah.
and it was the biggest flaw for me
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
story is that Peter Parker, after 2 movies, has learned absolutely no lessons in the thought process of self-preservation at a bare minimum.
Come on.
Yeah, you know what?
At a bare
I-
minimum, he should have thought, I should not take these multiple dangerous, murderous villains and walk them around town in the back of a truck.
Is
Come
it?
on.
It's what I said. Yeah, it's what
Guys,
I said earlier
there-
about like the
there's-
first half of the movie.
Yes.
Things were happening. It felt like just to move the plot along, and
Oh
I
my
totally understand how they can definitely use Peter's just intense goodness. Like he has no ounce.
is it good?
Yes, 100%.
This
He's a
was like
very-
a whole.
he's
This
a
was
very-
like a horror
he's a
movie
very-
when
he's-
He's a very
He's
stupid.
a very
yeah.
empathetic,
Oh fuck.
very
naive.
empathetic,
Naive is
very
the word you're
naive,
looking for.
100% very naive, very good person.
And that's
he
my problem.
Genuinely wants to help everybody. His Aunt
2
May has
movies-
always instilled in him to help everybody.
Yeah,
even in
but
the
dude,
moment, even in the moment, remember, even in the moment, he didn't want to help. He didn't want to help the Goblin and them. He didn't.
Yeah.
He actually
The
said,
Goblin
"This is not
and
my
them."
problem." Right? But Aunt May was the one who told him, "Hey,
And
No.
that's where what my score poor writing from the poor writing and poor shot.
I'm
Toby,
sorry. I agree a little
that
bit
is
on this
poor
one.
writing.
This is because I'm sorry. This is comparable to like the Gremlins. Don't get
Gremlins wet?
what's it called? Wet
Yeah.
after midnight. Don't get them wet. If
Toby.
you get so
I am a teenager who for multiple movies with my superpowers have fought to protect not just my city, but I've went into space. I've fought insanely dangerous creatures. I've done my best. And now here I am in a situation where, similar to the last film I just did, and the reason that the last film worked so well is because Nick Fury told me that Quentin Beck was from another universe. So I trust Nick Fury, and I trust that he did his due diligence to figure out who this guy is. And then I find out he got played and I got played. And I go literally the next movie, which takes place moments later. The last movie ends, this movie begins. I get into that situation. Multiple creatures start coming through the void that are dangerous. And my aunt, who works for Feast and is not a fucking hero, is going to tell me how to deal with multiple murderers. And I'm going to go, okay, Aunt May, I guess I just will try and fix them first because I'm a good boy. Get the out of here with
I'm
that.
End of the
hold on,
day,
hold
she
on.
puts food on his plate.
No, she doesn't.
I mean,
Yes, she does.
Yeah, she does.
She doesn't. He was working for Tony and was running around the city. You think Aunt May was actually paying his bills? Get out of here.
What?
Get out of here.
Paying his bills. He was living with her. What do you mean?
Living with her, working for Tony. Was Tony going to let him be
working.
destitute on the street?
What is Tony paying him? Tony
Not
ain't giving
paying
him money.
Guys, Tony was going to make sure that this superhero doesn't end up on the streets. Worst case, he moves him somewhere. Let's not pretend Aunt May was the great saving grace of this teenage boy's life.
All I'm saying is he's gonna listen to his auntie who raised
Of course,
him.
let's listen to the auntie who's telling you. But you know what, though? I'm sorry. I love my mom. But if I've been doing the job longer and my mom tells me don't do this, I'm going to be like, Mom, I've been doing this job for this many years. I know the danger and the responsibility. I'm telling you, who hasn't fought Thanos in fucking space, that these people are dangerous. What are you talking about?
We're acting like all these things happen years apart from each other. If you actually understand the timeline, you know in a very short period, the timeline. Very short amount of time,
Toby.
Right?
Don't say things like
he
if you understand the timeline. We know I understand the timeline.
Okay, I'm not going to agree with what Toby's about to say. If someone slaps you in the face and says, "Don't do that again," or I'll slap you in the face again, and you do it again, you get slapped in the face. Like, come on. If you're about to defend, and say it just happened, he didn't have time to learn, I do not agree with that statement.
I'm not saying he didn't have time to learn. I'm saying some people learn at a slower pace than others.
No, I'm sorry. I'm taking Brian's side on this one.
Some people need a bigger sort of
that's
event
why it's bad
happen.
writing.
A bigger event?
You can't give me 3 Spider-Man movies and tell me that Peter Parker doesn't learn lessons. That is disrespectful to the character. I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
You wrote 3 movies and he's still making the mistakes he would have made in the first movie? Come on,
he's not going to make them anymore.
Nope.
If he continues, that's why.
That's my problem with it. This third movie, which should have been the culmination of all these things, is set off because he's not smart enough to know he shouldn't have done what he did. Come on, that's where the story loses huge points for me. He should have known better. You can't tell me you went into space, did all this shit. You were gone for 5 years. You come back. Everything's been a mess. And you come back and you're just like, you know what, Aunt May? You're right. This Norman guy who seems to be schizophrenic and having a nervous breakdown, let me just walk him around town and pat him on the back. Yeah, Otto tells him he's a corpse walking and he's dangerous.
Yeah, I get it. I think the whole them getting killed by Spider-Man in their universe was also a big motivating factor. You have to take that into account. It was. I think that was a big enough one too. Unless you don't think that was a good enough motivating factor to want to help
for him to decide he doesn't want to send them back because they might die.
Not that he doesn't want to send them back. He does want to send them back, but he wants to actually help them heal because he found out also the reason why they're all the way they are. Right? There's a cure. There's a reason. There's a way to actually fix these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Question: why did the lizard come back as a lizard if he had already been cured?
He hadn't been cured.
He hadn't been cured. End of the movie. He's cured in a prison cell. Plot hole false.
Well, everybody. No, wait. It's not a plot hole.
No, everybody had a point. Yeah,
they weren't. Yeah, they weren't plucked out at the exact same time.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Perfect. Thank you for making that point because that was the point I wanted you to make.
Leave it alone. It's a good movie, nigga. Just leave it alone.
When Lizard got plucked, he gets plucked at a point before he gets cured. Lizard doesn't die. So why is this a problem? Why can't he just go back?
Wait,
Lizard doesn't die.
Yeah, but he wasn't really talking. He didn't say anything.
No, but it's Doctor Strange is the one that tells him these people die on like go back and it's
he generalized. That's Doctor Strange has made some mistake in this movie too. He made some hellish mistakes in this movie.
Yeah,
as well.
Of course.
They're not all on Peter. But
no, I'm not saying
all of them. So the ones who did die that we know of were the ones who told their story. Whereas everyone else was just like, oh wait, yeah, my mind is blank. Did I die? Right? So that in itself was enough for Peter to go, oh shit. I guess they all got plucked at the moment they died.
I'll just point out, you realize out of the 5 of them, but I just want to point this out because we're talking about this death thing.
I know how many died and how many didn't die.
Only 2 die. Only 2 out of the 5.
Those were the 2 whose stories were actually, but those were the 2 whose stories actually mattered. Right? They told their story first.
Saving everybody. He doesn't die trying to kill Peter.
Yes, he does. He does,
He dies
according to
trying-
him. If you remember,
Yeah,
we
that's
know
something.
this. But Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2, because I've seen it
Yeah.
50 million times.
Of course.
The point where he's holding Peter, he has one of his tentacles grabbing onto Peter, right? And about to kill him. That's when before Peter actually like gives him that whole speech that gives him control back of his tentacles. That's the moment where he gets
right.
up.
So Peter of the MCU is going to send him back to the same moment right before the other Peter gives him the speech so that he ends up dying but not killing Peter. Why is that problematic? He actually dies saving everybody.
You're saying if you send him back
yeah,
and timelines is that they branch. So your future is not your future and your past doesn't like none of the future or the past don't change. So you'll still have that
original one
that we're talking about. That's and then there's a branch off of these new people that branches off of that exact
right. So sending them back now on this branch doesn't guarantee their death and is no reason for you to put yourself at risk when you could send them back and you don't know that there's going to be a death.
True, because those could be absolute points in time and they're just destined to die no matter what.
Wait, why do we know them as absolute points? You just said your past is not your. You just explained why sending them back would branch.
You remember in Doctor Strange when if you you can't change certain
Loki, yeah. Oh no, yeah.
What if? Also,
yes.
Well, you can't change certain things, no matter what branch. Like even if it branches off somewhere, they'll end up dying a different way later on. Because they're always destined to die.
But if you apply that logic,
movie,
oh.
They don't know that. We know.
No.
Doctor Strange knows that. That's why he tells him.
But he's not.
But Doctor Strange doesn't know that either.
What do you mean Doctor Strange doesn't know that? He learned
because
that
in this unit. Did she say that though?
Yes. That's the whole conversation is I can't see past this point. Her and Doctor Strange are standing outside. I can't see past this point. This is a point in time. I die. It can't be changed.
Yeah, but I don't know if that necessarily means that he's
I'm just trying to see how you guys can out logic this thing that I've been thinking about since I saw the movie.
Don't think about it. Think about how great it is.
That's what I was going to
again. I really enjoyed the movie, but that huge
enjoyed it enough to find potholes.
Yes,
no.
And you know what? And that's the thing that bothers me when people say it. If I love something, I want it to be better. I don't want it to be
crazy analytical brain. It'll be better next time.
If we're going to do that, what about this? So if we're going to go down that path, Brian, quickly, what is your ranking of the Spider-Man movies out of curiosity?
Nice. Oh, right. Okay, let's go. Ranking. Let's do this.
This nigga said, "Oh, right." Mr. Reminder said, "Oh, right. All right."
Into the Spider-Verse.
Worst to best. Worst to
best.
Which just specify which way you do it because I'm going to say mine best to worst. So
yeah, I'm doing best to worst.
Okay, all right, cool.
I'm counting down. Cool. Into the Spider-Verse, Far From Home, Homecoming, No Way Home, Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3.
Okay. Because for me, I'm not including the Spider-Verse in mine because I don't enjoy comparing. I don't think it's fair to compare because then it's automatically number one. That's a whole other debate. But I would say Spider-Man 2 and Far From Home have always been interchangeable for my 1 and my 2, but usually being Spider-Man 2 being the top. Then it's the first Spider-Man because I just love that it stays relatively true to the actual story that I knew when I was growing up, so I connected with it more. Then No Way Home, Amazing 1, Homecoming, Amazing 2, and Spider-Man 3. But the only thing I will say with that is that like Spider-Man 2 and like Far From Home, they're like definitively at the top. All the rest are very, very close, except for when it's Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. Those are like a significant like we forgot the kid at the airport and just left. Like I don't want those in my life.
You want to leave the kid at the airport.
Oh man. I'll go next. No Way Home, Homecoming, Spider-Verse, Far From Home, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 3, Amazing 1 and 2.
Wow.
And where's
Spider-Man 3 is
Spider-Man
higher-
2 in your list?
Oh shit, sorry. Okay. I put Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3 in those order, and then Amazing 1 and 2. I don't like
Spider-Man
Amazing 1.
3 is above Amazing.
So
Hot.
that hurts.
Okay.
That hurts?
I mean, this motherfucker was dancing with.
I'm sorry, I hate Spider-Man 3. I
with
hate that you
eyeliner.
don't hate it.
Rewatch
as much as I
it.
do.
Rewatch it.
I did.
Oh,
I just
I
rewatched
have.
them all.
I'm
just
going to
rewatched them all.
rewatch the other ones because
I've
I
rewatched
want
it,
to,
and
but
I
I
told
don't
you guys
want to.
recently. I've rewatched
Yeah,
it, and I definitely like it more now than I did then.
Spider-Man
But
3.
does it rank higher? Yes.
God.
It definitely goes up a few great points in my.
I hated the
list for
suit
sure.
in Amazing 1. I couldn't stand that shit. I didn't like the first person whole video game Mirror's Edge type of trying to run across the
Yo, that intro shot with the
Get out of here.
intro shot in
No.
Amazing One is
Wow.
like
They tried to make him look like the Japanese Spider-Man with the mech suit and the big robot.
wow,
I hate
nah,
them.
bro. Okay, I don't
and
agree.
and his web shooters look like morphers. Fuck out of here with that.
Because it's homemade. It's his first iteration.
Doo-doo
Hey,
brown,
like,
man. It's a
hey,
jumpsuit. Looks like he's about to
That's
go skating.
interesting. But
Okay, I will say,
okay.
outside of what Skinny's
so
saying,
funny.
Amazing One, go watch the intro. That's like, I love rewatching that intro.
I
It's
mean,
the
I
best.
really, I liked
the,
Amazing One. I
I
ranked
liked
it.
Amazing.
I
My
ranked it
rank-
above Spider-Man.
So then,
my
so
rank,
Toby,
my
what
rank,
is yours?
yeah. Spider-Man 2,
Yeah.
Far From Home,
Right.
No Way Home,
Bong, I'm with you, homie. I'm with you.
Amazing One,
Okay.
Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
I like Garfield, and you guys know that.
Yeah.
Then Homecoming, Amazing 2, Spider-Man 3.
You and I have almost the same order.
Except for Homecoming, yours is higher?
Yeah, Homecoming is after Far From Home, but before No Way Home.
Okay.
You guys like Far From Home that much?
Yo, dude,
I love
Far
it. I
From
love
Home to me is the best, again, accounting all the villains we've seen, other than Doc Ock and Norman, the third best adapted villain to me, Mysterio.
100%.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
on the strength of Mysterio is why I'm ranking it so
Yeah,
high. And
Far
I'm
From
only
Home
ranking
is
Spider-Man
good.
2 that high on the strength of Doc Ock.
Yeah. And it's also a very good Peter story of him, like you seeing him having the struggle of like the dual identity, which was like present in the first one, but not such a problematic thing for him. Whereas it was in this one.
I'm going to see a Spider-Man movie for a different thing though. Like I think it's the setting that just kind of got me. It's the whole being in Europe setting just bothered me. I love Mysterio. I love what they did with it. I love the whole everything. But just being in Europe and him being like Night Monkey, I was like, fuck this down. No,
I get why.
And then all that stuff.
You like the New York setting for Spider-Man. I totally
get that. All that stuff for the Skrulls to just be Nick Fury and shit. It's just like,
and you know what? The Skrulls at the end with Nick Fury is one of the reasons that the movie is still one of my favorite, because when I watched that movie, at the end, I turned to my partner. I said, the only problem with this movie is Nick Fury would never fall for that BS. And then the post-credit scene shows that Nick Fury's not Nick Fury. And I turned to her and I said, they just made this the perfect fucking Spider-Man movie. Because you can't play Nick Fury like that. No version of Nick Fury is that stupid. And that shit bothers me.
He steps ahead. He steps ahead.
Ahead. Yeah. The man has plans for plans on plans. Like, it's crazy. So,
man, you know,
well, before
you have to bounce, buddy, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, because it sounds like you guys are about to shift. So, have yourselves a good one. We want to say Merry Christmas to y'all, because we're not going to obviously speak before, right? So, Merry Christmas to everyone listening, and Happy New Year, because we're going to be back probably after the New Year. So, enjoy, everyone.
We might try and figure out to do a special for next week that we can at some point, hopefully. But we won't do. We probably
maybe reviewing Matrix. Have you guys seen that yet?
Oh no, I want to.
Another tangent.
Another tangent.
Okay, we'll let you head out, man.
All right.
Take care.
Ciao, guys. Happy holidays.
Man. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
I will say that No Way Home is the best out of trilogy movies. No Way Home is probably the best third movie out of trilogy.
Yes,
but that's not a hard thing to beat in the Spider-Man.
Not even Spider-Man. I mean, like all trilogies.
Oh, just in general, it ranks up there with
MCU trilogies
or
general trilogy.
Like movies that got a trilogy, it ranks up there with beginning to end, overall sustainable, overall like good.
A lot of trilogies sucked in the end.
Oh, I know. I'm just trying to think, because I'm wondering if I would. One of the things that I gauge my ranking on movies is like rewatchability. Like, what would I rather watch? Would I rather watch the third Captain America movie, or would I rather watch this?
Oh,
You see, that's
fuck,
where
man.
it's
But
hard.
the problem with the Captain America movie is it stops being a Captain America movie
Oh,
after
I
the
know.
first one.
That's Well,
That's,
sorry, I was just
why I
using that
have
as
such
an
a hard
example.
time. Yeah.
But it's okay. I will say this: 100%, it's better than Iron Man, the third Iron Man, 100%. But
100%.
it's not fair to compare it to Thor because Thor's first two were so bad that his third is his best movie.
Yes.
And
first was okay. Second was trash. Third was.
It's true. The first one on rewatch, I can't hate as much now when I think about it. But yeah.
Yeah. Third is the World War Hawk. Is that the third?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
With Valkyrie and Hela and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really good and it's entertaining. A little too much comedy in the middle at some points. Like too much.
Anything else got a three-cher?
So far? In the MCU? Spider-Man, Cap, Iron Man, and Thor. And that's the point, right? Those
Ant-Man's about to.
Yeah.
And Guardians too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's it, right? The original 3 of the Avengers got their 3.
Right.
Which ended off stuff. So that makes sense.
Dang, that's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I guess with like Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Ant-Man, all those are going into 2-3. So we'll see within the next 5-6 years, we should have multiple more trilogies.
And then we could rank MCU trilogies at that point.
Oh my gosh. Not even just MCU movies, MCU trilogies. In which you're like playing, it's such chess because it's like, okay, these 2 are horrible, but this third is so good that it boosts the whole.
Does it make up? Yeah.
It's like, because Thor is not that bad once you give it. The first one is decent, the second one is trash, and then the third one is so good that if you asked me which trilogy would I rather watch between that and like Iron Man, I'm like,
I'd rather watch Thor.
I might want to watch Thor more because that third
Iron Man, even the Iron Man villains were just
like Whiplash in the second one was fun but not great. Like it's not a great movie.
Yeah.
Some fun scenes, but ultimately, if you ask me, I would rather watch Iron Man 2 over Thor 2. But if you ask me which trilogy I'd rather watch, I end up wanting to watch Thor over Iron Man. And that's what's fucked up. And that's going to be an interesting thing when we start ranking trilogies. Especially when you get like Black Panther, because if they end up recasting and they do bring T'Challa back for a third, that's going to get interesting.
Yeah.
Guardians 2 has so many good comedic moments. It's like I love those ones.
Yeah. I think honestly, if I have to Guardian movies don't rank very high on my list in MCU.
I know because it's mostly comedy. Like when you have a 5-minute scene of Groot dragging things to the cell because he doesn't understand what you're asking him to bring. That's comedic. Like that's not made for any 100%. Fucking reason, yo.
100%. That scene dragged on too.
Oh my god! But it was funny. That's the thing. I laughed, but it's not a great like. If you're making an action movie, I'm sorry, I don't need 5 or 6 minutes of a fucking little tree trying to drag things.
Yeah,
like that was long. You know, like
super long. One thing I did notice too in Spider-Man, and I think we always call this out, is the fake outs. I think we kind of called some of those fake outs from the trailer. We're like, well, this scene is probably not real because it seems like. And one scene that got people talking hard when the first couple of trailers came out was the way Doctor Strange was responding to Wong about the spell, and Wong saying, "Do not cast that spell" in the trailer. Yeah. And then you watch the movie, and he's literally saying, "Well, cast the spell, just leave me out of it."
Yeah, that was funny.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool.
The worst part is that they have him saying that at the beginning of the Doctor Strange trailer.
Thank you.
So it's like, why y'all? What are you doing that for?
I watched the Doctor Strange trailer and I heard him say it, and I was just like,
"Don't cast that spell." Almost like you never said that.
Yeah, it's not in the movie. Why are you including it? That was
Sorcerer
funny.
Supreme. Wong, you about to get fired?
I know why. Because the thing is, most people haven't seen Spider-Man yet, so they still left that in the trailers because.
Oh, okay. I'll accept that. I'll accept that.
Otherwise, because then it just changes, because that's where the whole Mephisto and evil Doctor Strange storyline even came from. Like, why is Doctor Strange doing things behind Wong's back? That was a big thing for us discussing this initially, right?
Yeah.
Which still comes into play in the Multiverse of Madness anyway.
I guess it's just because we saw the trailer right at the end of the movie. So when you
Yeah.
see the trailer at the end of the movie and he says it, you're like, but he didn't even say that shit in the movie we just saw.
Yeah.
But you're right. They released the trailer
Yeah.
now. So now when people
Yeah.
see it, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Dang.
Word.
But I understand your score a little bit better now.
Yeah.
I get it. There are definitely things, even while watching, that
Yeah.
I wanted to be even more excited for, but I couldn't bring myself to be more that excited for. You know what I mean? I feel like doing this show with you guys every week and talking about what should be in something, what will be, what could potentially be, and all these theories. When I get there, I'm waiting for it. and then I'm not as surprised when I do get it. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. I was really happy when I sat down and the movie started, and I was just like, okay, my expectations are genuinely pretty low for this movie. And again, first big moment, Matt Murdock being there, big moment,
huge. It was what that screenshot that leaked online.
I wasn't annoyed about it, but I was like, this is crazy. What, like, because now at that moment I was just like, oh, he's not going to be in Hawkeye then, and I was like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
right.
Then he catches the break, and he's listed only as Matt Murdock, not Daredevil. I was like, bong bong, this is on fire. I'm loving this. Movie continues. Yeah, great lines, and like the fact that he says I'm a good lawyer, and then when Happy says he needs a lawyer, he's like, you need to find counsel, not offering to be his lawyer. Also hilarious to me, but I was just like, whatever. Then the movie, like you said, gets into that weird part where, a whole bunch of decisions. And I got to say, Doctor Strange telling these kids, like, Scooby-Doo that shit. And it's like MJ rightfully saying, bitch, this is partially your problem. We're kids. Why are we being sent to do a grown-ass magician's job? And so that was one thing that I was kind of like,
magician.
Yeah. And one of the things that I was kind of like, yeah, I'm a little disappointed in Strange I'm hoping that Multiverse of Madness is going to explain a little bit, have some sort of crossover between the multiverse connection and stuff like that. Like the fact that he disappears and catches Lizard on his own, we don't see, and I'm fine with that. If that is slightly connected, or those scenes are kind of shown at the beginning of the movie in just him fighting Lizard, and then cut seeing him stuck and then the portal opening and Ned pulling him through. Like, if you want to do that to explain the multiverse connection,
probably,
yeah, I'm down for that. I don't mind that. But I do have to say, Strange disappointed me as the Tony replacement, or kind of like adult figure in the movie from the Avengers team, because I know Strange is selfish, but god damn, like, dude,
Strange ain't an Avenger officially.
I know, no, but I'm saying, like, in the sense of like the adult heroes that
don't give a shit about nobody. So
yeah,
I think he's also more preoccupied with not having the Sorcerer Supreme title anymore.
He's legit like, man, I gotta
that's how
listen
selfish he is. He thinks about stuff like that over other things, and I guess it's true to the character. I don't know if it's true to the character in the comic book, because I don't remember him being that. So he's not that selfish in the comic book, but in the MCU, they've definitely made him come across as like, I'm in it for me. And he has more in common with the What If Strange than he does with his comic book counterpart,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I felt like What If was just a table setting. It may not connect, but it's table setting for potential like plots and character development. I think for him, it was just more important for him to contain a spell and figure out a way to bring everyone back, versus like actually going out there and doing the work. I think that was his way of punishing Peter, almost. In my opinion, that was his way of like, hands off, but like, go deal with this shit, versus me coming to hold your hand through it, which I could see, but I think he also poorly misjudged Peter's judgment. That's the biggest thing. But what I love that came out of it was that throughout every movie since we've seen Spider-Man, his tingle has been slowly developing, and this movie was the very best depiction of Spider Sense I have ever seen.
Like, better than Toby, better than Andrew.
We see they gave us the fan service, and I loved it. And that's why I say I'm like, it's not a bad thing. The waves out of his head, like the comic books when he was in the astral form. Yeah.
Like the tension. Oh yeah, dude, when he gets pushed out by Strange and he's in the astral plane
and then he was
he's
getting
like,
the Spidey Sense
yeah.
waves.
Oh, I didn't
because now
see that.
You didn't?
Oh, no, I didn't notice
Yeah.
that.
Dude, he had the Spidey, the comic
Yeah, the
book
whole thing around him.
coming around his head, and you could really tell that like the Spidey Sense is literally, if you watch Dragon Ball, it's Ultra Instinct. Like your body is just protecting you no matter what. If it's like danger and you and your mind and your heart knows it's danger, Spidey Sense is taking over, which is why he's able to still control his body. Like,
yeah, that was kind of crazy.
And,
it's like,
and he can swim back into his body. Like most people, when they're, even Doctor Strange can't swim back into his body when he's pushed out of astral projection. So like it just shows that like Spider-Man is a much stronger character than we know, and I loved that. The scene with Norman when he was able to sense the shift from Norman to Goblin, but he didn't know what was going on in the lab, and he's looking around, and it was filmed so eerily.
Yeah, like they made it tight too. Like they filmed close, and it was like
tunnel vision, kind of, right?
Yeah, and it's like close-ups on everyone, and Electro's just like, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And like he's getting panicky, and he's like, you can see the sense and like the fear, and then all of a sudden it's just that moment of like, and Norman's reaction of like, "Ooh, that spider sense of yours," like like
it literally. He didn't even do it. It did it for him. Almost, right? It was kind of like it took over. You know, I love that. And I love that he sensed May's death almost before she died. That was kind of like his, like he said May, right?
I gotta say, man, that again, that death scene to me, I felt, you know which scene had a bigger emotional weight to me? When Doc Ock sees Toby's Peter and says, "Peter, my boy." That hit me more than Aunt May dying. And I feel like that's not good. I shouldn't have felt a bigger connection to Doc Ock recognizing Peter for the first time, clear of mind, than his aunt dying. And that's one of the issues for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people had an issue with that because it didn't seem like she needed to die for Peter to learn the same responsibilities as the other Spider-Man.
Someone had to die.
I get why exactly, and who else has a higher.
Could have been happy, but that would have been like,
but could have been MJ.
That's the thing I don't understand. Is the implication that he doesn't have an Uncle Ben in this universe?
Exactly.
Because he doesn't even seem to, when they talk about their Uncle Ben, he doesn't even
know an
seem
Uncle Ben.
Yeah, he doesn't recognize the idea of an Uncle Ben. And I was like, oh shit, I thought Uncle Ben just died before you showed up.
No, so they explained to us that in this universe, Uncle Ben doesn't exist, and May's just been single, and she just is looking after Peter.
I guess, okay.
This whole time. Yeah,
I guess.
So yeah, it's
So then, what motivates Peter to become Spider-Man? Just innate goodness and wanting to help people?
Yeah, I don't think there was much else behind that. Yeah,
because I mean, like, it's just
that's why he hasn't learned. You know what I mean? Like, he's still just a kid going on these adventures in his head. Again, he's still just a kid. He's barely 17. Yeah. Right. So that's why the whole like him being naive. Like, I get that. Like, are you really that smart and thinking at that age? Though you're not. Like, it's an adventure to him. It doesn't even have, because he's fighting. He's fought with so many Avengers and people. He just hasn't had and the people he's fought in his own solo movies were human in suits, right? So there was no.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I just think that in 3 movies, you're writing the character. Write some growth into the character. Write enough growth into the character.
They gave you that growth.
Yeah, but they gave me the growth after his aunt dies, after everyone gets put in danger. When last movie, him getting tricked was already what got everyone in danger.
You heard him say it. It's not my problem.
It's not my what?
Not my problem. You heard him say it here in this movie. Like, he still has it's not my problem mentality. It's not my problem. He said that to his aunt.
And then she was like, whoa.
But he's
and
saying
then that
was correctly. Like, it was.
I know, but
yes, but you see that
her, she was like, whoa, you have to take responsibility for the things you did. You know, like it was like her scolding moment. I know, but he's also just a kid and probably doesn't know how to talk back to his aunt at 16, 17, 18, right? There's like this. You understand?
Aunt May
like,
is not a black woman.
But okay, stop.
I saw a 7-year-old. I saw a 7-year-old white kid in TMR say, "Bitch, bring me my cereal," and I'll never forget white kids talking to their parents wild. So I'm
let's
sorry.
say we live.
Peter Parker should be able to say, "Aunt May, this is a bad idea," instead of, "Okay, Aunt May, let's just bring these villains to your boyfriend's condo and let them run rampant like I'm an idiot."
Let's say we live in a world where people are that respectful, and that does happen. Then I believe the scenario of like May trying to teach Peter responsibility in that moment. And man, Norman was super convincing. He was.
Oh no,
she could tell he had split personality disorder, which he does.
yeah,
right. So she doesn't want. She feels his innocence, which the Goblin played to perfection.
I don't know.
Willem Dafoe.
Hey, I won't go back
really
into.
sick.
Say what? Say what?
I was saying Willem Dafoe just popped up. I was like, wow, he actually like killed it.
Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Willem Dafoe, I had a list of the actors that I thought just killed their roles better than anyone else in the movie.
Okay.
And like Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Zendaya has Andrew we don't even need to talk about Andrew Garfield. Spider-Man is on a whole other level when it comes to his love of playing that character. He wants to play that character for the rest of his life. And if he could, he would. He's down, 100%. He will do it.
Yeah.
Because
he says Zendaya. Who else is on your list?
That's it. Those were the top. I think Tom Holland did a decent job. But
same old confused Peter.
Yeah. And you know, I was watching a video where he explains like, because I wear the mask, I talk with my hands, and I kind of think of the hands like, and I was just like, yeah. I mean, you did the stuff. You're confused,
but
he's waving
Garfield has this body,
mannerism,
bodies. There's a scene in Amazing, because I just watched it again recently. But there's a scene in Amazing Spider-Man 2 where he's fighting Electro in that grid towards the end of the movie, and Gwen Stacy comes in, and he was telling her. And he like the way he's trying to convince her and talk to her, and the way he's.
I watched that scene today.
I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
what are you
the
doing
embodiment.
Here? You need to get out of here. And she's just like, no one decides for me. And he's just like, and he's like kind of just like cowering, but also like protecting her. Yeah, that was funny.
Oh my gosh, she just understands Spider-Man.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And but I do love. He killed it. But I think this movie did a good job of like just showing you the 3 stages of Peter Parker. Right?
Well,
you got
comics,
the innocent, naive kid. You have the middle-aged, the guy in his late 20s,
college years. Yeah,
and then you have or early 20s, mid 20s, I guess at this point. Maybe he's past college. And then you have the Toby who's like 40 probably at this point.
Yeah, with a bad back. That was.
So am I wrong to say, okay, in the comics there was Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular, right?
Yeah.
That's how the comics work.
I don't know if that's the order, but I think you're right. Like that.
Okay, so essentially, Toby's Spider-Man, Andrew's Amazing Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spectacular.
Oh, okay, I could see that. Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
And Andrew, still, I'm sorry to anyone who thinks Toby or Tom, but Andrew is definitely the best Peter. I'm sorry.
Oh,
well, he did the lab coat thing with the hair, and I'm like, that's great comics. I
really think he brings the best Peter.
So like that's my only gripe. Like, he does bring the best Peter post high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I don't like when he was in high school in the. I just didn't
in the movie. Yeah. I see. I get what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
But after high school, 100%. Right, because he's just his own person. He's gone through that growth. He's gone through the loss of Uncle Ben. He's not a loser. As I kind of wanted him to be more loserish in Amazing Spider-Man. He wasn't. He was just that cool nerd. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't. Yeah. He wasn't like. He wasn't as dejected as I would have liked my Spider-Man to be initially. Like Tobey Maguire's played that very well. But I think overall, it just reaffirmed again for me and for a lot of people apparently that he is the best Spider-Man we got, but he just was never given a good chance.
Yeah.
You know, he came out a couple years after the original trilogy, and literally a couple years before this whole MCU thing happened. It just was not.
They never gave him a chance.
The movie was shit. It just not his fault.
Poor guy.
Yeah, the movies are watchable because of him. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
That's Go ahead,
They'll bring him
Stacey.
back in Spider-Verse or something. He'll be back.
You think? You think now
They'll fuck around and make him Ben Riley. Like, they'll do
shit.
something with him.
That's wild.
They'll do something.
What a wild prediction.
We haven't been wrong. Shit, I mean, I'm just throwing things at the wall.
Andrew Garfield coming back as a clone of Ben Riley would be wild, but interesting to watch.
That would be crazy. I think the back joke was cool too because that's a running gag. Since
because in Spider-Verse, and then him cracking his back. I was just
it's also in Spider-Man, right? If you remember, Tobey Maguire almost lost the role to Jake Gyllenhaal because he hurt his back filming Seabiscuit. So they made a back joke in Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
And then
hurt his back though. Wasn't that the whole thing? Negotiations?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, it's very possible. But it was also plausible and believable. No, I remember. I know.
Yeah. Because isn't that why they did the whole thing from Entourage? Is the Aquaman thing on Entourage is a play on the fact that they were making fun of the Tobey Maguire thing.
Yeah.
That's right.
What else? I think we talked about a lot to do with.
Well, before we go on to the next thing, I know our homie Skinny said.
Yeah. Actually, I have to dip, so I want to say to everyone, hey, happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, all that. Happy New Year.
Sir.
I haven't heard anything about the new rules or whatever, but I hope I can see people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's true. You guys are going back under curfew, aren't you?
6 to a household after the 26th. No curfew.
Because your boy. Hey, anyway.
Yeah, but right now we can do 10 until the 26th. Essentially, he's just telling people, I don't want to cancel Christmas for you, so get together for Christmas. But after that, when things like by the first week of January, things are going to be bad. You guys are going to get like fuck. So
how are we still here 2 full years later?
I don't want to talk about it. We're
not going to get into that. I'm about to go get a rapid test, but everybody have a happy New Year. I just want to say I've had a really good 2021. Things are doing pretty well. I didn't want to talk about it too much, but I found out the night that I saw the movie, your boy is in this movie's credits for No Way Home.
Yeah,
for now forever.
Yes.
The Robert's name is in a Marvel MCU movie. Hell yeah. So
You know what's funny? If you hadn't had a kid this year, I would say that's the coolest thing that happened to you. But
right? No, it goes literally
the kid. Forget the kid. It's the
kid, Hasbro, MCU, and today with his PS5. So life is good. Can't complain. Awesome. I'm just knocking on all the wood. And y'all, I love y'all. We'll be back next year.
Too,
I might take a bit of a hiatus. I'm going on pat leave, so I'll be back circa February, January, mid-Jan. I'll be back. I'll be around. Yeah.
Whenever you're back, your seats here for you, man.
Yeah. Love y'all. Toodaloo. Happy holidays.
Deuces. That's so true.
Yeah, man.
Roberts.
Because I remember thinking, like, when I saw the credit thing, I was going to say, oh, we definitely have to congratulate him. And then I thought, man, if it wasn't for the fact that he had a kid, which congrats, also awesome, I would tell him, this is the coolest thing that happened. But, a baby. That's, you have a child. So
just the baby.
Yeah. Just a new form of life in your
responsibilities there.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool.
We're now down to 2, and we probably could wrap it up soon because I feel like we've talked about everything.
We can talk Hawkeye though.
I was just gonna say we could talk Hawkeye for a little bit.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like I had said, my original final score was 6.5 on 10, and I don't say that. I don't give that score negatively. I give that score saying I truly do believe this is a fun movie. It is worth watching. I think it was. I think the story has its flaws, but I will agree with what Skinny said that at the end of the day, it is one of the best thirds to an MCU trilogy.
Yes, 100%.
I will give it that. And I know some people might say, "Well, that's an easy bar," but even if it is an easy bar, it still sets the bar because it is relatively significantly better than the other thirds.
Because the things that you didn't like about it, they work. Like move the story forward, they progress the story. They lead to a better place. I might not
like them, but
right. It's not like they were they just didn't work.
No, that's the thing. It wasn't so bad as Thor 2, where it just felt like, what is happening? Why is this person in this world? Why is this happening? You're watching the movie and you're just like, none of this makes sense. These are all bad decisions. I don't like this. Whereas even the bad decisions, I was just like, I understand why they're doing it. I just don't like that they're doing it, or I don't like the way they're doing it. and that was where I stood.
100%. And I love the original costume at the end. I just have to point that out. Dope to see that they went to the super light blue.
Really bright blue,
sick.
And
sick.
also shout outs Insomnia Games. Spider-Man got some nods, like in the fight scenes, got some nods with the app on his phone, the police scanner stuff. They really did. This movie really did bring in elements from as much as possible. I kept saying I would have loved to have seen Gwen and Miles, but I was saying this to Dave. I understand the way they brought in those two with the way the spell kind of backfired. I understood why other characters didn't show up. I do think it would have been cool to see an MJ, but whatever. That so be it.
I mean, they used some moves too from the game in the actual movie. That move awesome. Where he does the two webs and
to the ground and then smashes the dude.
That's
so much good stuff.
Dope.
So much good stuff. All right, so I'm taking the spoiler off, guys. We have finished talking about Spidey. We're going to talk a little bit about Hawkeye to end
yes,
us off.
sir. My rank before we start. I give it an 8.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Spider-Man 2 has a 9 in my heart, 7.75, and then you have Far From Home, which is like 8.5 for me, and now that has to kind of even out there.
Folks,
Hawkeye.
Okay, so for those of us who are big fans of Daredevil, I think we can say it was fun to see Kingpin. It was fun to see Kingpin. You know what? I mean, I'm happy he was there. He was just kind of foolish, but yeah, dude.
Where
that's
was
not
he
the
coming
Kingpin
from?
I'm used to. Hawaii? I don't know. I'm not. I
don't
know
that's like Miami, like linen suit.
Yeah. Like, did he watch a lot of Miami Vice? Like, what is going on with these outfits? But okay.
That's true. That was what was off.
Yes, he's not dressing the way Kingpin dresses. The sharp suits. Like, yes, he had a cuffling, and yes, the snapping the cuffling came into play later on for what Kate does. But like the Kingpin we know who dresses sharp, and the Kingpin we saw in Daredevil, who's like all about being sharp and stylish, to be wearing like Hawaiian shirts or Miami like dance machine shirts underneath a white coat with the gaudy stone on top of his scepter thing. I was like, okay,
cool.
Yeah.
If this is the version I'm getting, at least we're getting him.
I guess
I don't mind, just as an overall sentiment, I don't mind how the story was wrapped up. We really only got 6 episodes. Each episode was long. I think this definitely did function better as a TV show than it would have in any capacity a movie. 100%.
Yeah.
Certain things I do want to nitpick is that I just felt with the way the first 5 episodes just had so much emotion and so much involvement as a viewer. I was like attached to the storyline. This one did a bad job of tying it up for me a little bit. The final episode did.
Yeah.
I wanted to feel more of the Kingpin terror, and I didn't feel that at all.
No,
it felt a little bit not forced, but
I feel like forced is the right word.
Because in this universe he's not established.
Yeah, you didn't have the build up throughout the season, so people like us who know who Kingpin is and his importance. Like I guess they kind of made Kingpin, for those who don't know him, this shadowy figure, because they kept saying the big guy, and Clint kept hinting at like when he gets involved, things are gonna get bad. So I understand that could have been the play to try and create the mysticism of Wilson Fisk, but I don't think it landed, because then it was a guy in these Bermuda type shirts with a white coat and a bad hat, and it's like, this is.
You're meeting him in the back of a restaurant, like he's some owner of a back alley gaming.
Oh my god,
poker game. It should have been in an office in the Empire State Building, something where he's sitting at a desk, and you're just like, you feel the nuance behind his the weight behind his intense.
The
reason why people fear him, and I just didn't. It just didn't come across like it did in Daredevil,
especially
which was slightly disappointing to me.
Yeah, especially with not to say that Eleanor can't be strong, but the fact that Eleanor walked in, and even when he's hovering over, like towering over her, he's a force. And the fact that she still didn't even seem phased. Like she doesn't even seem choked up when she's trying to get out of the deal. It's just like, I'm out. And he's still being kind of like, his eyes twitching, and he's like doing the whole like, consider what you're, and she's just like, nah, bitch, I'm out. I don't care. And it's like the fact that she didn't seem to care, like,
but
everyone cares. There's no fear.
The fear wasn't there, considering you did all this because your husband owed this guy money.
Yeah,
supposedly, allegedly.
Right. Yeah.
So that didn't hit home for me. I was a little disappointed on that for sure.
Yeah, which for me is the reason that when it came fight time, and Kate has to fight someone, I didn't like that the person she has to fight is a character we established at the last 2 episodes is a threat.
Yes. I didn't want to see her fight.
No, yeah.
Him anyway. I didn't want to see him fight.
Yeah, to be honest, agreed. He shouldn't have been fighting yet.
He shouldn't have.
No, it should have been like Kazi. Like Kazi should have been. Yeah. But I'm saying like Kate should have fought. I don't know who, but
I see. Well, yes. Then what would Echo have done? Because now she knows.
If anything, Echo should have confronted Wilson, but not fought him.
Okay. Yeah. I could see that. And her just kind of running away. You know what? When she had that conversation with Kazi about running away, you can come with me. That should have just been it. She should have been gone.
Yeah.
I don't even think we needed more of Echo fighting in this movie.
No. Yeah.
TV show.
Yeah. I mean, they're essentially movies, 6-hour movies.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Because if you had Echo talk to Fisk, and that interaction, Kazi is through Fisk going after Eleanor, which would have made sense, and then Kazi fighting Kate, which we haven't seen, because for the whole season, Kazi never ended up fighting Kate. And you still could have gotten a good fight out of them, because Kazi is a good fighter. He fought Clint and can handle himself. And then I still don't like Yelena fighting Clint all that much, but then leave those two still fighting on the ice. I feel like I feel like you still get the resolution. You don't get a fight with Wilson and Echo, but you get an emotional moment of like, even if Wilson like tries to shoot her or something and she just escapes, her running but not fighting him.
Exactly. Yeah. But we all know she's getting a show, so she could have just gone away, and we would have known she'd show up in her show at some point.
Exactly.
Right? Certain things don't need loose ends to be tied. Leave the loose end open. Leave it open. Leave it loose. Yeah. Tie it up later.
Yeah.
Because it's not a hole. It's not a plot hole.
No, that's the thing. It wouldn't have been a plot hole because, and then we still see them do what I'm describing in a way after, anyways.
Yes.
Which didn't make sense to me, because then I was like,
what's happening?
I was like,
here?
why? Yeah, I was like, why are you doing? Because when Kate flicks the cuffling and essentially blows up Kingpin, for a second I thought she killed Kingpin.
What is Kingpin?
He's not a mutant. He's just dense. The idea is that his body is just dense. Like he can't. Like he's just.
I totally get it. I totally get why Kate should be dead after a couple punches.
That was insane to me that she didn't die.
Right? She should not have been able to keep up in any way, just knowing what we've seen from her across the whole show.
After his first punch, she should have been unconscious.
Right? And then, you know what? I even told you before the show started that when Eleanor came in and saved her and ran Kingpin over with the car, for me, I was like, that's it. Like, out from that, you guys get away. And then you come back and all of a sudden Kingpin's gone. You know, like that whole...
Of course, the usual.
That would have been perfect also. If you went that far, that would have been perfect. But no, she had to fight him for a good 7-8 minutes.
Yeah.
With different gadgets, getting knocked.
On her ass.
Dude.
Made no sense.
I don't know. Yeah, certain decisions there didn't make sense to me this episode.
I feel like they just really wanted to show off the arrows.
Yeah, and they wanted to show off Kate.
Yeah.
She's gonna be in the universe in a big way, so I get it, but they showed her off on the wrong person.
Yeah, yes,
it should have been Kazi, like you said.
Oh my god, yeah, she should not have been fighting Kingpin. Fights Daredevil, fights Spider-Man. like, don't get me wrong, Kate Bishop can be at that level, but you have to build up Kate Bishop a little
build
bit.
up that. Exactly.
She can't have just started hanging out and only just now been referred to as my partner by Clint in this last episode finally, and at that point is now taking on Kingpin, someone that when Clint was Ronin he was scared of.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, that's the other thing, like you said,
where's the fear?
yeah, you established that Kingpin is someone that Ronin feared, and you guys show him in the back of a broken down restaurant. Like, weird, man. I don't get it.
That's some weird choices there, which unfortunately, because of how the show wrapped up, brings it down to my rating a little bit.
Yep.
It's still above Winter Falcon, though.
Yeah. Is Grizz here today?
He probably is. But it's still above it, but it's definitely gone down a notch or two because it's just unnecessary things were done here. Unnecessary things.
Yeah.
I love that the swordsman got his day in the light. That to me was cool.
I was so confused because I really thought that Swordsman was supposed to be a bad guy, and then Eleanor's just like, I even set up my fiance with the Sloan thing, and I was like, wait, so is Swordsman just Swordsman? He's not actually a villain or anything? I was like, what? It's like, Bulls, I have blood on me. What the hell is happening? Why is he such a casual character? So crazy.
So, like, I feel like he's done things that make him like impervious to whatever is happening around him. He's just like, well, yeah, I've been here before. So maybe there's some history there with him being some kind of superhero at some point, vigilante at some point.
I just want to know, I know this is pointless and probably just for the comedy. I just want to know who the little kid is. The other Armand. Like, does that character come into the one that he's just like, true. Remember when you peed your bed in the Hamptons? I know that character might mean absolutely nothing, but in my head, I'm just hoping he's going to end up being like someone later on. Because it was just interesting. Their interactions made it seem like what little kid comes up and starts, talking shit to an adult like that, So that's why I was hoping, maybe he might be an interesting character. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think. What was his name again? Was it Armand?
I think he's like the next Armand. It's like Armand the fifth or whatever, or something like that.
Doesn't ring any bell for me anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, that I mean, the Yelena and Clint fight.
We knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I feel like they should have really told us. I almost wish Clint didn't fight her and said like, "I'm not gonna fight you." Instead of them fighting for as long as they fought to just get his ass kicked.
Mm-hmm. And him not end up fighting anyway.
Yeah.
He also should have. Why can't they tell people what happened exactly, especially the people who should know?
I don't know.
He couldn't say it. He couldn't say what she did and why she sacrificed and how she sacrificed or what, you know what I mean? Like, there was no explanation.
I fought her and she fought me for it and sacrificed herself. And it's just like, okay, but what happened? Because as far as I understand, I think you killed her. I'm asking you what happened. And you're telling me she sacrificed herself. What? How? Why? You're not giving me more information.
And then Yelena even said right after that, well, I could have been there to stop her. Well, you can be like, well, actually, no, you couldn't because we're on Vormir, this planet. Like, you could... There's explanations here. I don't understand how she's just cool with these little.
Even if you hadn't been one of the people blipped, you weren't invited into space with us. That's just what it is.
You could brief her on the whole thing, and we could literally cut away for a good, how long Kingpin and Kate's fight took is how long it could have taken you to give her some kind of context into it. And be like, listen, I know you probably don't believe this, but you remember we had aliens in New York, right? You know that story.
Yeah.
Let me tell you where this went to and why Natasha's not here. And then if you want proof, I can show you proof later, but this is what happened. Right?
Yeah.
But that's where I felt again, this episode fell short. You did so much to build up the show. And I appreciated every single thing that came out of it for the first 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Just didn't close very well.
Do you think the MCU series suffer from an inability to wrap up? Because so far, other than only Loki has had a very solid finale. Wanda was a good show, but that last episode of Wanda was kind of just like, everyone's running around crazy. Big witch fight.
Yeah.
Okay, it's done. And then same thing, Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of just
Ooh.
like
Yeah.
wrap up the story. We have a little bit of a fight, and the truck almost falls on people. John is even like, oh no, I have to help, and then Sharon does whatever she does, shoots the person, and you wrap everything up very quickly, and then post-credit scene, Bob's your uncle, move on, Valentina's part of the universe now. And then this one, Hawkeye, again, build up for the whole thing. Post-credit scene, a fucking Rogers musical that made me so mad.
That was so annoying. So annoying. Yeah, that was annoying. That was stupid.
Yeah.
But I guess they really wanted everyone to see it. Yeah. They really wanted everyone to see that musical, I guess.
That ish really bothered me. I was just like, guys, come on now. None of us are actually here to see this stupid musical. You're being stupid.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that.
Yeah,
they're not sticking the landing. Yeah,
I think they do suffer from closing out. They learned from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think they learned from the Netflix shows.
Yeah.
Right? But I think they still haven't perfected it in the TV verse.
Yeah.
This is the actual Marvel, like the whole MCU's first involvement in the TV area. I think we'll probably see it get better in the next seasons of these shows, I think.
Yeah.
It wasn't horrible. It wasn't bad. It was way better than anything CW or DC has done in terms of TV shows.
Yeah.
Right? So we're being awfully critical.
When we're judging it, I'm not comparing it to Titans or anything. Trust me.
Exactly.
It's still in a MCU. Anything MCU is in a league of its own. Major leagues compared to these. I don't even know what DC is. DC is a T-ball with toddlers hitting like foul balls down the side, and it's really bad. But yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty much it. That was everything. We didn't have geek news this week because we were going to talk about Spider-Man the whole way through. Miriam Khan wanted to send her regards. She really wanted to be on the show this week, but she was unfortunately not feeling well. As you guys know, there's so much going on. It's the holiday season, and with anyone not feeling well, it's kind of just like take your time, rest up, and feel better. So she unfortunately couldn't join in, but we'll be back, guys. We'll like we said, we have more episodes, and hope maybe, like I said, we'll maybe try and do something to drop for you guys for next week. We probably
let's try to watch Matrix and talk about that next week.
Yeah. We won't be live though, because I definitely have stuff. But yeah, man, it was fun, dude. At the end of the day, I'm happy. I'm happy we had the conversation about Spider-Man, because I really felt like everyone thought I was being crazy, but I really felt that I had genuine concerns. And again, end of the day, I like the movie, guys. I like the
100%. I definitely get your point a lot more now. My ranking is higher for my own personal reasons.
Right.
I'm definitely more biased in certain areas as well, but I totally understand the areas where you felt it lost points. Didn't ruin your viewing experience. You're just like, I wish it was better.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
So I get it. Yeah.
That's it. That's all, guys. 2021, wild year. Toby said it jokingly, but it's true. We have been going through a pandemic again. It's the second year that we're doing this. But with all that said, it is always a pleasure doing the show with you guys, with you, Toby, and the crew, and even just all the people who are in the comments. It's always fun to have you guys be a part of the show and to joke around with us and to, get at us. And, I said it at the panel that I did in September, and I've said it on here a few times. You guys are the fifth host of this, because as much as it's our show that we do, the fact that you guys jump in with us is a lot of fun. And yeah, man. And to all the people on Twitter who are tweeting at me and telling me I'm an idiot, well, hopefully you watch this and understand a little bit better why my score.
I mean, we were teasing you, but I wouldn't go as far as being like,
no. There's a guy who tweeted at me like, "You're alone with this," and it has like 57 likes, and I have one on my comment that it's like I have like 2 or 3 likes on my comment saying it failed to be the best Spider-Man movie ever, which I think is a fair statement. And then his reply is like him shitting on me, and then 57 people have liked that. So a lot of people were expecting. So I hope they watch this, because again, I
think some people just don't also want to admit that it wasn't as it didn't meet the expectation.
How dare
some people just don't want to admit.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah.
Anything you want to tell the people, Toby, before I
just stay safe. We're hoping we don't go through another hellish 2020 also. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just stay safe. Happy holidays. Enjoy your time with your families now. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Peace, y'all. We'll see you.
Deuces.